Hey, what's up everyone? Heinrich here, back on Heinrich MTG, and today we're jumping into something very epic. We've got the Final Fantasy crossover Magic the Gathering Commander deck, Counter Blitz. Right? That's right, this is a Final Fantasy 10 meets EDH strategy with counter summons and that sweet combo of control and value. Alright, if you're into Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy, or just building a sick commander deck with reactive plays, you're gonna love this one, right? So let's crack this open, check out the cards, and talk about how to pilot this one. Right? And maybe how to break it a little too. Alright, here we go, unboxing time. Look at this. So last time we also unboxed, I do have the Limit Break of Cloud, right? I forgot how to open this one. Oh, I'll just there you go. Okay. Yeah, and last time I thought the card here is the actual card. Now at least now I know. Okay. So this one, alright. So this one includes 100 card ready to play deck, right? It includes the two commanders at the back. This one, we have Tidus and we have Yuna. Okay, those are the commanders that we have, and then we have tokens here, punch out tokens on the side, and also punch out card. And then we have this one, a collector booster sample, which have two cards in it. So let's open it now. Let's see what's inside. Okay, so what do we have here? Oh, we have Graha, Tia-Sign Reborn, and then we have Estinane. Cool. Okay. Okay. What else? We have the reference. We have this one. It becomes a card deck box. Right. There you go. Just have to do it like this. Okay. Okay, there you go. You can put the cards inside later. Then what else do we have? That's all. Okay. Then let's open this one. Alright. So we have, as I mentioned, we have the two legendary creatures that we have, the commander that you can use. You have Tidus, Yuna's Guardian, and then Yuna, Grand Summoner. Okay. So actually, what is the Counter Blitz deck? So at its core, the deck is all about counters, because as you can see here for both of these cards, right, they're talking about +1/+1 counters. Right? And then of course it's a deck with a lot of reactive plays. So it's not just dropping big creatures. You want to also respond to what your opponents do. Okay? And then of course summons. This includes Final Fantasy summons. Right? We have Auron, Chocobo Knights, Gara. Right? Making for some sweet mid to late game plays. Okay? And then of course we have value engines. Cards that can help you generate resources, counters, of course, and of course board presence over time. So there's a lot of cards here. You can do that. Right? And then of course we have one part of the deck is also protection plus interaction. Okay? So you have protection spells. Let's find it here. Where is it? Oh, these are the lands. There. Okay. Right. And then also other tricks that keeps your pieces alive. Right. Okay. So unlike a straight up aggro deck, Counter Blitz feels more of like a tactical RPG visit, which is really in line with what Final Fantasy is, right? So you wait, you act, and then of course you strike when the time is right. All right, so let's break down some of the standout cards, okay, and how they work. Okay, for this one, of course, we have Tidus, Yuna's Guardian. He's going to be your main commander. And his ability, or what he stands for, supports both counter synergies and reactive play. And then we have Yuna, Grand Summoner. This gives a strong summon feel, right? With her, you can lean more into those iconic Final Fantasy summons. Okay, and then let's see. There's a lot of summons we have. We have summon Ixion, summon Yojimbo. We have summon Valifor, Mago Sister. Right. So these are, if you've played the Final Fantasy game, right? These are very powerful creatures representing the classic Final Fantasy summons, giving you a very big thematic play. Okay. Then we have Yuna's Whistle here. So reveal top cards from your library until you do a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. When you reveal a creature card, this way put +X+1 counters on target creature you control, whereas is the mana value of that card, right? So you can imagine if you've revealed a high mana cost creature card, right? So it gains a lot of +1 counter. And then of course you have there. And then of course you have protection magic. Put a shield counter on each of up to 3 target creatures. Right? So which is quite nice. It gives a reactive protection spell handy to protect your key creatures or combos. Okay. And then what else? What I can see. So this one, Inexorable Tide. This is an enchantment which helps massively with counter proliferation or synergy, right? Which is very good in a counter deck. We have Spear Grid, which is quite nice also. Whenever a creature controls this combat damage to player, put a counter on that creature. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counter and then have reach and trample. Wow, that's amazing. Right? What else? Hardened Scales. That's an enchantment also. So it doubles the +1/+1 counters. And then we have Tile Tracker. Investigate, right? Which is nice. You get a clue, and then when you sacrifice a clue, you get +1/+1 counter. Amazing. Then we have Walking Ballista. This one's very nice. I love this card. Yeah, there's a lot more cards that work well with this one, right? Put it there. Oh, don't want to send it. Yeah, don't pull out. Right, so basically in this deck you got a toolkit to build up, protect, and exploit counters while also summoning some of the most nostalgic Final Fantasy monsters. Okay, so some typical plays with this one, right? So Phase 1 usually early game, like turns 1 to 4. So you do ramp up, right? You use your mana rocks like Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and early creatures to establish a base, right? And then just keep the interaction going. Don't go all in too early. You want to have two answers ready for your opponents might do. Okay, and then if you have deploy hardened scales and inexorable tide as early as possible, or any other enablers that you have. Okay, and then when you go to phase 2 around mid game, which is turn 5 above, you start playing your creatures with +1/+1 counters, or those that generate value. Okay, so use Yuna's Whistle earlier, the one you saw, or other spell keep moments to drop counters or tutor creatures. Okay, flash in creatures or use tricks to respond to threats. Your ability to react here is very, very crucial and huge. Okay, and then of course phase 3, late game or finisher, cast those summons creatures like Ixion, Valefor, etc. to swing the board, and then use Walking Ballista or other creature counter-based finishers. Use your protection spells, of course, and synergistic enchantments to maintain board advantage. And then of course, you can also build up a slow block via counters or win through overwhelming value plus big creatures. Okay, so think of it like a really Final Fantasy X battles. You build your strength, you build your character, you unleash your summons at the right moment, and of course, don't afraid to counterplay. Okay, so some tips and tricks or pro tips to make your Counter Blitz deck even more stronger, or at least fun to play. First one is bluff with open mana, right? So since you're blue, or I don't know, the green, then your opponent might think that you have a trick up in your sleeve, right? So this forces respect, and then for the opponent to think, oh, should I do this or should I not, right? And then next one is, second is use Yuna's Whistle wisely. So Yuna's Whistle is your tutor to get a creature, plus it's a counter generator. So timing is everything, right? Use it when you can get maximum value, or really to catch your opponent off guard. Okay. Number 3, stack counter synergies. Like, so for example, like inexorable tide, hardened scales, or counter generating creatures, right? That's where you really start snowballing. Okay. Number 4 is protect your key pieces, right? So your big creatures or engines or summons, your ballista, those are actually really your win conditions. Okay, so use protection magic or counter spells or tricks to keep them alive. Okay, token abuse plus broodmoth. Yeah, if you're creating tokens or flickering, right, in and out of play, luminous broodmoth becomes a huge threat. Your board can punish attackers heavily. Okay, 6, be smart with removal, right? So this doesn't contain that much, so don't burn your removal too early or use it for the threats that actually hurt your plan. Upgrade options, if you customize, right? So some players online suggest great updates like Ozolith in place of Inexorable Tide, right, for more flexible counter strategies. But yeah, it's up to you. But this deck is really quite good already and quite fun to pilot. And then of course, number 8, it's alternate commander. So if you're more on the summon combo, right, because Yuna is actually she adds mana to your mana pool, right? So it's a lot easier to ramp up, right? So you can use her also. Alright, so going to pros and cons for this deck, right? So pros, this is very thematic to Final Fantasy X. Huge nod to Final Fantasy X's fans, right? Especially because it's led by Tidus and Yuna, right? Then of course, next pro is it's a reactive tactical gameplay. So it's not just straight up bringing big stuff, but there's more combo into it. Then this deck also has good values and synergy. And then also, of course, the summons are actually meaningful. Not only does it's a nostalgia or a classic nod to Final Fantasy summons, right? But it's actually quite helpful for the deck for its win condition. And then of course, the flexibility of the commanders. You can pivot between control, value, and of course combo plays. Alright? Cons. This deck takes a lot of time, so it might be slow to actually hit its sweet spot. And then of course, if you overcommit early, you're risking to get punished by your opponent. Then another con is some key combos or values lines might need good timing or experience. Right? And then another con is well, it depends on some players, but some players said that without the upgrades, it's lacking power, right? So it could be stronger, right? Depending on the playgroup that you're in or the LGS they're playing with, or if you have people. So there's a lot of online stuff that people are suggesting to swap cards in between, right? And then the last con that I can see is that mana base might not be super aggressive, right? So you need to manage resources carefully. I don't know, but if this is helpful, but maybe this is where you can play this, or when you can play this deck, right? So you can use this, or you can play this when you're playing casual multiplayer Commander games, right? So this deck shines with political plays, right? Helping other players, right? And then of course reactive plays, protecting yourself, and of course the value. And then also you can play this if you want to bring Final Fantasy flavor to your Magic Night. Of course, it represents one of the greatest games that we have. Okay. And then of course, if you like counter synergies or +1 counter type decks. Alright, so there you have it, my unboxing and full breakdown for the Counter Blitz Commander deck. This is again from the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy crossover. So for me, really, this deck is a blast, especially if you're into both worlds, Magic and of course Final Fantasy. It's tactical, it's thematic, and with a lot of deep lines to explore. So again, if you enjoyed watching this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Okay, and if you like this kind of content, especially Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy, again, do subscribe to our channel and ring that bell button so that you won't miss any future deck packs, gameplay, or any upgrades, or just talking about Magic and all. Okay, and hey, comment down below which Final Fantasy summon for this deck you are most hyped to see in action. And also, if you have this deck already, which commander are you mostly using? Are you into Tidus or into Yuna? Okay. Alright, again, thank you for watching. This is again Heinrich from Heinrich MTG, reminding you to always have fun, stay safe, and always stay awesome. Bye.